Coming up on this week's edition of Thunder Insider, we'll recap the recent road trip and that 4-game winning streak that was one of the most dominating of the season. We go one-on-one with the Thunder rookie Perry Jones, and we introduce you to our inspiring February Devon community hero. It's all coming your way starting right now on Thunder Insider. Welcome to another edition of Thunder Insider. This week, we're kicking things off with our voice on the radio, Matt Pinto, and my counterpart, as always, Grant Long. Okay, guys, we're going to kick this one off starting about the recent road trip where the team went 1-1 with a win in Phoenix, a loss in Utah. But during that time, we saw the Thunder put together a 4-game winning streak by wins of an average over 25 points. And during that home and that winning stretch, we saw season highs by Kendrick Perkins and Thabo Sefolosha. So some good things in the last few games.
Oh, absolutely. I like the fact that they were holding their opponent to 88 points in that 4-game win streak. Also, the fact is they go on the road, and Thabo Sefolosha has one of his best shooting nights of his career. And I think when he gets involved in the offense like he does and he impacts the scoring, it makes this team very difficult to beat. He loves those corner threes. And what I love about when he gets hot, his teammates look for him, and they also set screens to get him open around the three-point line.
Put a little signpost up on those corners, Thabo corner, because of the way he knocks down those threes. But I like to play Reggie Jackson. I think he's emerging as a backup point guard, gaining confidence, it seems, by the game, more decisive in what it is he's doing when he's out there with the ball, finding teammates and finding his own stuff. Right? He had 7 rebounds, a career high in that win at Phoenix, and then at Utah matched his career high in points with a dozen.
Well, it helps when the starters are blowing out the opponent and the reserve players get to play the entire fourth quarter. But I think it also allows Reggie Jackson, the guy that's going to basically run that second unit, to gain some trust with Scott Brooks as we move after the All-Star break. That trust is going to be very important.
And it says a lot about this team. When I ask him what has made that second unit better recently, Reggie Jackson says it's because of the veteran leadership of Nick Collison. Nick Collison says it's because Reggie Jackson has gotten better. So it says a lot about what these guys think of one another and the respect among teammates. All right, well, we're going to do something new this week. We are going to play a game. It is Name That Player. Okay, can you show some excitement here?
We're going to name that player, right?
Okay,
You're going to name that player?
Who wants to be a lead?
Here are the rules. I feel like we need music and graphics or something. Okay, we are going to have a graphic. You're going to see 3 different stats. Wait until you see them all. And then we have this lovely high-tech bell. Whoever rings it first is your winner. Okay, so let's start with player number 1. First clue, 72.5% inside 5 feet. Wait your turn. Only 21 shots between 6 to 19 feet and almost 49% from the corner. Ready, go. Oh,
you rang it first, so go ahead.
Well, I'm going with Thabo Sefolosha.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, Pinto, is that going to be your guess too?
With the corner 3 percentage, yes. That's my guess.
Well, we already talked about Thabo to start off the show, but I mean, that says it all, and we really saw him hit his stride on the road trip.
Well, I could guess that, with my eyes closed. You didn't have to put that graphic up there. My keen insight with Thabo Sefolosha.
Is that what it was? Okay.
I just knew that answer.
Well, Pinto, we know that he has really been working on that shot, particularly that corner 3 all year. Why all of a sudden, though, has he hit his stride?
2 years ago, he changed his stroke. He changed the mechanics in his shot. And since that time, just working and honing that craft, so to speak, and that 3 has made a huge difference. And his teammates trust him now anywhere on the perimeter, but especially in that corner. And he recognizes that if a player penetrates, he drifts to the corner, the pass will come out of the pack to him on either side of the floor. And when that occurs, he's ready, willing, and very, very able, and seemingly without much effort to knock down that shot.
And here were the stats earlier, but now you're seeing the shot chart, Grant, as you look at that. I mean, that's got Thabo written all over it.
I think the 2 things that he's made the adjustment to do that's made him a better 3-point shooter. He keeps his elbow tucked in, and the follow-through is there now. Before it was his elbow was out. Now he's like shooting in a phone booth. You hear shooting coaches talk about shooting in a phone booth, keep your elbow tucked and follow through, and he's doing that.
The other thing that really strikes me in watching him shoot the 3 is he has a quiet shot. There's not a lot of wasted motion. There's not a lot of movement. His release is excellent. He gets the ball up and out and over the rim. It's rare that you'll see him miss a shot short.
All right, let's go to player number 2 then now. And Matt, as you saw, even though you don't say it until after, you can always ring the bell first so Grant doesn't cheat.
Okay.
Okay, player number 2. Let's start with these percentages from him. Field goal, free throw percentage, and three-point percentage this year are all career highs for him. He has taken 177 shots between 15 and 19 feet, and he's shooting almost 51% between the 15 and 19 feet.
I'm gonna say KD.
Wrong.
What's that?
I need a buzzer.
That's wrong.
Okay,
I'm going with Serge Ibaka.
Okay, 2-0. Grant is our winner today.
Oh, come on. We got to go with more here. Come on, we need more.
Stick with me.
All right, we are going to see Serge Ibaka's shot chart as well. Grant, how'd you know it was Serge?
Because when you talk about a guy shooting that mid-range jumper, you have to think about Serge Ibaka. He's the only guy that, in my estimation, that makes that difficult shot. And it is a difficult shot. It's a lost art, quite frankly, because guys now either settle for the three-point shot or they drive in and try to dunk the ball. Serge is somewhere in the middle, and he's really been able to capitalize on his effort to knock down that mid-range jumper.
He absolutely has. And why? I mean, is it astounding at all, Pinto, to look at this? You've seen him play the last few years and see that he is having career highs in all of these areas.
Well, I go back to the start of the season when Kendrick Perkins shed some light in the preseason on how Serge does not leave the gym until he makes 500 mid-range jumpers, which it's muscle memory, you get in a comfort zone, and now his teammates look for him on that pick and pop, and he understands the areas on the floor, Leslie, where those shots are available, and he makes defenses pay because they don't pay much attention to him still.
I think that's key, Matt, when you talk about knowing your spots on the floor. When you watch Serge roll out to a pick and pop situation, he rolls to the area. Most guys, when they roll, they get the ball and then they have to do something else. Serge will roll to that area. When the ball gets there, it's a quick shot and it's done. So he recognizes the separation that he needs to get after he sets that pick, and he gets there and catches the ball, and it's a one-shot motion.
All right, well, Grant Long is our winner today, 2-0, but Matt, I know you're going to make a comeback.
We need a rematch.
When we bring this game back. Rematch next week, right here on Thunder Insider.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
It's the All-Star break, and the Thunder are already 53 games in. We'll dissect the first half of the year as Thunder Insider continues next.
I always wanted to just sit back and be one of those guys on the sideline and watch. And I never really got an opportunity to, just preparing for the three-point contest and the horse competition. You know, I always was in the shower when the dunk competition was on. So I just, want to sit back and enjoy it and just take it all in. Maybe, get a camera and document my weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I think the dunk contest is going to be resurrected, with the guys that they have. So I'm looking forward to that.
Be sure to check out thunder.nba.com for all of the coverage from Houston, and be sure to tune into next week's Thunder Insider for a special in-depth look at the entire All-Star weekend. I am definitely looking forward to seeing all of this down in Houston this weekend. Well, welcome back to Thunder Insiders. We have now subbed out Matt Pinto for our play-by-play one and only Brian Davis. Guys, we're going to kick things off talking about this first half of the season, which is technically what we call it heading into the All-Star break, even though we are 53 games in now. Give us your thoughts just on the first half. A couple of things that just stand out in my mind is the ball movement, the assist numbers being up. Offensively, this team has really hit its stride.
Well, I'm going to go back even further. Kevin Durant, after the finals loss to the Miami Heat, talked about wanting to incorporate his teammates a little bit more in the offense, and that was going to help them become a better team. And I've seen that throughout this first half of the season to a large degree. You think about the incorporation of Thabo Sefolosha and his shooting, and Serge Ibaka coming on as that third consistent scorer. And now even here recently, Kendrick Perkins getting into the act.
Well, you look at the way the Thunder went during that four-game winning streak, the homestand and then the home-and-home against Phoenix. 26.5 assists, only 11 turnovers, good ball protection, and then aggressive defense fueling something else that really popped off the page at me, guys. The Thunder for the season is averaging 19 points a game off of turnovers. That's 3 better than the last 2 years. 3 points on 16, going to 19, that's significant.
Yeah, and that activity off the ball, I think, is setting up a lot of the assists right now. I've never seen this team, since I've been here, move that well off the ball to set up those passing opportunities. Russell Westbrook is doing it. Durant is doing it. Kevin Martin's been a big part of this team's moving without the basketball, and I think a big part of what has also made them successful is that everybody now has to become a better passer because that ball movement has increased off the ball.
And Grant kind of touched on this. Better ball movement means better scoring balance for this team. If you go back to last year, Durant, Westbrook, Harden, What they accounted for in terms of the team's total points, well, the number this year with Durant, Westbrook, and Kevin Martin, it's lower. More guys are getting involved in the act, and there's more of an inside-out quality to the way that this team is playing. And then when you add, and I knew you guys were talking about Thabo earlier, but when you add the fact that he's making opponents respect his scoring range, that makes this team very dangerous because it spreads the floor.
And that starts with Russell Westbrook, who this year, for pretty much the entire season, has been averaging around 8 assists. That's definitely an improvement. We've seen him get better every year, and we've definitely seen that from him as he's become a better passer. Well, another area we've definitely seen them become better at more recently is the production of the bigs. Kendrick Perkins getting in there and creating things on offense, but Hasheem Thabeet has improved. Nick Collison is doing the little things as he always does. What have you guys seen from this area?
I think always vital to a team's success is how well your bigs play, whether it's rebounding, whether it's defending and blocking shots. But scoring is the thing that really takes you over the top. When you can get your frontline players involved in moving the scoreboard, you're really going to have an opportunity because most of the time they're getting their scoring done in the lane area. And when you dominate the paint, you dominate your opponent, whether it's on the glass or whether it's scoring. And I think when you have a fortified front line like we're seeing here as of late with Perkins, Collison getting involved, and Ibaka certainly impacting the scoring, it really makes the Thunder a very, very difficult opponent.
I love what has happened with Thabeet. He was a guy that came in here with a blank slate, and he has responded to the way that the Thunder has been coaching him up. Don't forget that Collison was more of a scorer when he was at the University of Kansas, so no surprises. He sort of gets back to that a little bit. And then the other thing I've been loving lately, and that is Serge Ibaka actually putting the ball on the deck and going coast to coast on the fast break. Another element to his game that is still emerging.
Absolutely. Well, we have seen as well that this bench play has definitely improved, particularly lately. And a lot of that is because we've seen a lot more of them than we expected. I mean, they've played the entire fourth quarter and 4 of the last 5 games. How much does that help going into the All-Star break to get their confidence up?
Well, I love the fact that they're able to get that quality time on the floor in the fourth quarter because here's what they're up against. They're up against the opponent that's trying to prove to their coach that they deserve to get more minutes on the floor. So it's a very competitive atmosphere when the reserves come in. Even though they're up a lot of points, it's a very competitive atmosphere. And I like the fact that Reggie Jackson is at the helm because he has to carry out the offensive execution, and it's a seamless operation. If you look at it, they're getting the same shots that the starters get when they run the same plays, and that tells you that everybody's dialed in on the same page.
I want to go back to the home game we played a few weeks ago against Denver when the Nuggets made a run against the bench. Scott Brooks called timeout, and all of a sudden this group came out, and it was like they'd had a personality transplant because all of a sudden they not only held the lead that night, but they extended it. And that's what we've seen from game to game ever since then. These guys are not just coming in and, okay, the Thunder's leading by 15 or 20 and the final margin winds up to be 10. The Thunder's bench, this group that we're talking about, is not only holding, but at times extending leads against their opponents. That is really, really important.
And we've seen so many new names emerge. Guys we knew were there but have really just become a part of this team. DeAndre Liggins and the spark he provides off the bench. When you talk about defense, hard not to mention his name as well.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, I think so. The way he comes along with his energy, he's going to steal the ball, he's going to pressure and force turnovers. You can't say enough about him being comfortable in what he does because he excels in it every single night, and I think that's why he's earned a spot in the rotation. Although it's very limited, Scott Brooks looks to put him in as a reward for his hard work.
Yeah, I used to work with a guy years ago who loved to kind of just play fight and shadow box, but he would kind of jitterbug around and he would say, hit me anywhere you can find an open spot. And I look at Liggins playing, that's exactly what I think of. Hit him anywhere you can find an open spot because he is constant motion. Frenetic.
Well, Liggins, Daniel Orton, Perry Jones, guys, we haven't gotten to see that much of this season, really getting some valuable playing time recently, which is great as we head into the All-Star break. We'll hear more on Perry Jones later on in the show.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
Best player you played against to this point and why?
Kevin Durant. The guy was just real smooth, very smart. He has a great IQ on the court.
Thunder fans, don't forget to take part in our Watch and Win contest brought to you by your Oklahoma Chevy team dealers. Not only do you have a chance to win tickets to an upcoming home game, just visit thunder.nba.com and enter the code 8764 or text the code to 68278 for your chance to win. Well, when rookie Perry Jones takes the court for the Thunder, it is evident how athletic and talented this young player is. Nick Collison said he practices like a veteran, and that, along with his natural ability, shows he's headed down the right track. Matt Pinto had a chance to go one-on-one with the former Baylor star earlier this season.
Obviously, rookie season for you, Perry, but what are the things that you feel like you can bring, and what are the areas you work specifically on during the summer to gear up to play for the Thunder?
Whatever Coach Scott needs me to bring, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to help the team in some kind of way, whether it just be only in practice and I never see minute time on the floor, or whether I see a couple seconds on the floor. I really don't mind at all. I'm just happy to be a part of the team.
What are the things about your game you feel like will translate well into the NBA game?
My speed, my footwork. I think that'll help me a lot on this level, because a lot of guys are a lot more athletic, and a lot faster, a lot stronger. But I think my speed and my size will help me.
Best player you've played against to this point, and why?
Kevin Durant. The guy was just real smooth. He's just very smooth, very talented, and very smart. He has a great IQ on the court. And guarding him is hard.
Will guarding him make you a better player?
Definitely. It would definitely help me in my defensive game, big time.
How so? Can you offer any specifics as to how?
Because he's so versatile. He helped me in my defense on the block, mid-range, bringing the ball up the court, picking them up from half court. Pretty much it's going to help me every aspect of defense that I have. And right now, I'm trying my best.
How do you prepare for a game? Any specific rituals on game days?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm getting there.
Being a part of this team, there is a really close connection and link with the community itself. Can you talk about how important it will be for you to be interactive?
I feel that we have some power to impact, children's lives. For instance, Thunderfit. Thunderfit, we can just sit back, we can just play around and maybe block a couple of kids' shots or something like that. And it's a lot of fun. I just like to see the reaction on the kids' faces and the impact you can have in their lives. It could be a kid in there that wants to play in the NBA but doesn't know if he's ready for it and things like that. But he sees how we are with him, and then he may enjoy it, and then he may want to be successful and reach his goal.
You just heard Perry Jones talking about how much he loves being involved in the community. And there are many different events the players and the organization put on as a part of the Thunder Cares Foundation. In fact, recently the Thunder held an auction of team-signed items at a home game to benefit not only this foundation, but on this particular night, a part of the proceeds went to benefit the Resilience Project, which helps at-risk homeless youth.
It'd be awesome if I won that basketball.
We're so honored to be chosen by the Thunder to receive this raffle, this opportunity to raffle. We're raffling a game ball. It's signed by all this year's players, and the benefits will go to, the donations will go to the Resilience Project. It's a project here in the Oklahoma City area. We're serving at-risk kids, working with kids who are homeless, kids who are at risk of failing in school, who just need a chance to be empowered, to know what their strengths are, to grow in resilient strengths, and feel like they're really worth it.
Well, I think it's a good idea. It's a great idea. Anything to help the people.
So we're just loving this project and loving this opportunity.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
Coming from what they initially told me to where I am now, it's leaps and bounds.
And again tonight, just the emotion all over again.
Catch up on the latest news, game previews, community events, and NBA action each week during Thunder Insider, presented by Integris Health.
Welcome back to Thunder Insider. Well, the Devon community hero is someone who exemplifies great courage and heroism in and around Oklahoma City. February's recipient, Officer Chad Perry, shows these traits every single day. He's battled through a horrific injury for 2 years, and now he's inspiring others with his story. Doctors originally thought Officer Chad Perry might be paralyzed for life. Through his determination and strength, he's proven them wrong, even taking steps again.
Initially, they had told me that I would probably not move anything below my collarbones. So, coming from what they initially told me to where I am now, it's leaps and bounds.
Chad is back on the job, working in the police department's Criminal Intelligence Division investigating cybercrime. He says there was never any doubt in his mind he was going to return to his calling, police work.
This is what I wanted to do, since I was little. And, I may not be out on the street or in the car, but I'm still actively, pursuing crime and helping in a different manner.
The biggest hero aspect of all of this is how Chad has handled this adversity. And really the example he set for all of us. And, I like to talk about how it's hard for any of us to get up in the morning and complain about much when you see Chad getting up, coming to work every day, and being productive and having such a positive attitude.
We'll present this month's Devon Community Hero, Officer Chad Perry.
So what does a night like tonight mean to have this entire crowd cheer for you and to get to come to a Thunder game and stand up in front of everyone?
It's absolutely amazing. This was one of the first places, or was the very first place that I came when I went to inpatient rehab. And it brought me to tears that night to get the standing ovation that I did that night. And again tonight, just the emotion all over again, to have that support and that recognition. It is absolutely amazing.
One more time, let's hear it for Chad Perry.
He is truly an inspiration. Well, that's all the time we have for this week, but remember, tune in next week for that special edition as we bring you all the sights and sounds from All-Star Weekend down in Houston. That's next week on another edition of Thunder Insider. Until then, have a good weekend.